Living alone. Living alone is hard, especially when you've always had a brother or a sister around. So when I finally had enough money to comfortably move out of my parents' house, I was hesitant. I almost didn't want to go, but I knew I had to. I wanted to become a teacher, and the best school for that was out of state. I found a decent-looking apartment complex near the school. The landlord seemed nice, and everyone so far kept to themselves. I was given the last open room, 5th floor room 5F. It was small, but seemed perfect for someone like me. This would be my home for a few years before I graduated. After about a week, I started to get more comfortable living by myself. The landlord checked up on me at the end of the first week to see how things were going. My neighbors were a couple who were also in the same university, and they seemed happy to have another student around. After another week, things started to get strange. At first, I almost didn't notice. Some things moved here and there. Other things like food or a sock completely vanished. I thought with school being stressful, I was just forgetting, but then bigger stuff went missing, or was moved. I came home to see my computer open and on sleep mode. I'm very adamant about keeping it closed and off, but maybe I just forgot on my rush to school. I opened my fridge and the pizza I was saving was gone too. I found the trash from it in the bin. I know I didn't eat it. I was looking forward to it. I started getting scared, so I called up my landlord, Joshua, to come help. He brushed it off, saying school and living in a new place was probably getting to me, that I shouldn't worry so much about trivial things happening. For some reason, that didn't calm my nerves at all. That night, I was sleepless. If it was me, why was I forgetting doing these things? And if it wasn't me, who was it? I felt like I stayed up all night worrying, but I must have fallen asleep because I woke up to the sound of a cupboard shutting. My heart was racing. I was so scared that someone might be in my house. I got up slowly, listening for the sound again. I heard a quiet shuffling coming from outside my bedroom door. I didn't want to call the police because what if the intruder heard me? I would get caught before the police even arrived. I texted Joshua, explaining I heard someone in the apartment and for him to call the police. I listened more. Silence. All I could hear were my ears ringing in the silence. My phone lit up. It was Joshua. The cops had been called and he told me to remain calm. I turned the light on my phone off as to not alert whoever was in the house that I was awake. More shuffling. I think it was coming from the kitchen. I got a little angry. Who comes into someone's house and messes with them? My heart nearly jumps out of my chest as I recognize the sound of my bedroom door's handle turning. I get into position so I can see the door and possibly identify the intruder. I pretend to be asleep as the door opens slowly, my heartbeat racing like it was on a track. Thump. Slide. Thump. I try not to scream as I see this long, thin creature move across my room. It looked hunched over, its knuckles grazing and dragging on the ground like a monkey's paw. It slowly walks over to my bed and stares at me. I can barely make it out, but it's humanoid. I see no features on its face except 2 unnaturally lit eyes. I try to keep my body and breathing still like I was sleeping. It leans closer to me and sniffs, then stands up straight, its head hitting the ceiling. Blue and red lights flash in the window and I could see it fully. Long and humanoid-like, I thought, but built like an anorexic man. You could see every rib in its chest. Its knuckles huge and wide, but its wrists as thin as pencils. My breath caught as I saw its face. Eyes too humanly realistic to be natural. But no other facial features. No nose, even though I heard it smell me. It stared out the window for a moment, then back at me. It quickly walked to the door and shut it with its long, thin finger. Not long after that, I heard the police come into the apartment and knock on the door. After the police took my statement and Joshua's, they left, telling us to let them know if it happens again and to not hesitate to call again. In the main part of the house, things had been moved around. My cupboards and dressers were open. The fridge food was on the floor, some spilt. It must have been in a hurry when the cops came. I couldn't tell them about what I saw. No one would believe me. Joshua looked worried at me, and he apologized for not believing me at first. I accepted his apology and shook his hand. I wanted to ask him about the creature, but I knew one of two things would happen. I would either look crazy, or I would see fear in his eyes. Living alone can be hard. Good thing I don't have to worry about that anymore.